Hey everyone, Once Bitten here with a battle report. So there's a tournament coming up in just a couple weeks, Southern Assault in Durham, North Carolina, and I've been playing some games lately, mostly just kind of having fun for it. I thought it was about time to start play testing some lists I'd like to take to the tournament, and I was planning on taking my Empire of Sonstal list because it just seems really well balanced. But I can't help myself. I have to bring my beast herds. Um, yeah, it was funny. I was on a podcast recently with Ohio Hammer talking about the Beast Herds book. If you haven't subscribed to that podcast, go check it out. But yeah, he asked me what I thought some of the downsides of the book were, and I was like, this sounds like just a real lame answer, but the truth is, I think there's so many good options that it's really a struggle for me to build lists because I see a role for everything in the book. So in line with that, this list has some units I've never taken before, and because I saw a rule for them, and it'd be nice to see how they do. So the guy I'm playing against, you've seen his models before. They are insanely gorgeous. He's a three-time Golden Demon winner. He is the best painter I've ever seen. His stuff is so good that I'm embarrassed to put my models in the same pictures with them. He is moving. This is probably might well be the last game I have against him. So starting on the right, he has got a unit of Wasteland Warriors, Mark of Pestilence with a Harbinger of Pestilence in his full kit. Now the whole army list I'll put in the in the description of the video, so I don't clog it up here. But oh my gosh, look at this! Just absolutely beautiful. Next to them, he's got some Warhounds behind it, a Chariot. Then he's got a Demon Prince of Lust. Are you kidding me? He has this thing stepping out of a portal down this carpeted stairs. There's an orgy going on in the background of the portal. I mean, it's just, yeah, absolutely a work of art. Next to it, he's got some Crusher Knights, joined by a Harbinger of Wrath. You should see his kit. He is beastly to say the least. Now we had a rules question come up, and I just didn't feel like taking time to look it up then, and I think I figured it out now. But the question is, if you join a character to a unit with less than 5 rank and file models, and then you shoot at it with ballistic steel shooting, can you target the character? We played this game that you couldn't because I wasn't sure and I didn't want to take a chance of being wrong in that way. When I read the rules now, I don't. That's the only thing I see about it. I don't see an exception for monstrous cavalry or anything. So if I'm wrong in that, if you would help me out and let me know, I would appreciate it. On the left of that, it's got some fast cav and a chariot behind him, and then he's got just this beautiful, beautiful Chimera. Facing him, I've got some only halfway painted feral hounds, because I've never used feral hounds in my list before. I like them because they're the cheapest thing in our book. They're only 40 points, and for 40 points, you can either use them to vanguard or you can use them to ambush. And if you know me, you know I like options. So I have 3 units of these bad boys in my list. They're not really bad boys, they're kind of wimpy, but um, there are some things that I want to be able to ambush with, and I don't need super fighty units to do what I need them to do. And otherwise, I can vanguard with these guys and use them as cheap chaff. I've got a beast giant. This one, he's been painted for a while, but I never had him on a base, so I literally just glued him on this base just prior to the game, and I'll need to finish basing him in a little bit. I didn't take any close-up pictures. Normally, I would say he's painted pretty well, but I'm on the table with Gabe Thorne, and it doesn't look good at all to me. I've got another unit of feral hounds behind him. 8 minotaurs. I'm liking these guys. Extra hand weapon. Um, just a whole lot of killiness right there. I've got a Jabberwock. Then I've got on this, it's an unpainted base with an unpainted Minotaur and a halfway painted Chariot. That is my Razor Tusk Chariot. I've never used that in a list before, and just thought I would try it out. I've already, since this game took place a week ago, I've already um, converted that thing up. A major conversion. I'm very happy with it. I think you're going to like it. Um, I just need to finish painting it. Behind it is a Centaur Chieftain. I gave him the Impaler. That thing is awesome. It always hits on a 3-up, range 18 inches, and it is a mobile bolt thrower. He can move, oh, I think it's 8 inches, maybe 7, whatever it is. He can move his standard movement and then shoot 18 inches, hitting on a 3. Um, that thing is pretty sweet. Let's see. Next to that, I've got my big unit of wild horns. People on the Beast Herds forum, there's a small subset of people that think these guys are useless and can't be used and have no use in any game, and they make every one of my lists. I absolutely love them. I've got 3 characters in there: my Battle Standard Bearer, my Beast Lord, and a level. Oh, I've got two spellcasters, both level 2. One has Lore of Wilderness, one has the Path of Death. In front of them, I've got 3 core chariots. I've got my Gortak. Then I've got some more feral hounds and another giant way on the far right. So I deployed first, and then my opponent got to deploy in reaction to me. So you saw how he set it up. We vanguard. So here on the left, I take both my dogs. I plan on using them with his Crusher Knights to redirect, possibly bait them. And I've got my giant. He's facing left. I just want him to protect my flank. I don't think that giant's going to do anything against his Crusher Knights, his Demon Prince, or those Wasteland Warriors on the far right. So I'm not dying to rush them up into combat. I'm happy with them just to sit here and protect my flank. Here on the right-hand side, I vanguard my other giant, as well as those dogs. And you can see my opponent vanguarded his dogs. I know I'm going to get to go first, and I do this. So, well, I'm sorry. That looks like that's another picture before turn 1. Oh, and then we swapped out this piece of terrain. I don't know if you noticed this, but in previous pictures we had the huge Games Workshop hill there, which is kind of cool, but it's not easily played on. You can't put units on top of it. And so this guy showed up. I'm going to put the link to his website in the description. But he makes terrain, and this I thought was beautiful, and I liked it because it's actually easy to play on with units. So like that very, very much. All right, so now we go to Beast Herds turn 1, and I do this. I make some mistakes right off the bat. One in this picture I was really frustrated with myself about is I parked my Jabberwock right behind the house, but my opponent's Demon Prince can see that corner of him, and he's actually not far away. The Demon Prince can fly. So I just set it up for my opponent to get a nice easy flank charge on the Jabberwock, easily kill him, and overrun to the flank of my Razor-Tusk Chariot. That was just sloppiness on my part, and yeah, I don't like doing stuff like that. Also, on the right, I know he has dogs up there to chaff me up. He could actually pull those dogs up and chaff up all 3 of those chariots on the left. My thinking was, though, that if he does that, I can chaff up those warriors and get rid of those dogs, and then when it's time to get in combat, I'm going to be able to charge his Wasteland Warriors with just a whole bunch of stuff. So happy enough with that. What I didn't consider is what my opponent might do if he went and parked him in front of my chaff and then chaffed up my Gortak and a chariot. So then if he marched his warriors all the way up, I would have, a Jabberwock and 3 chariots. I'm not sure that's what I would want to take into that fight. Anyway, here's the right-hand side. There's the left. My thinking was I think these Minotaurs can handle those Crusher Knights. And the reason I thought that was because I'm an idiot and have no idea what a Harbinger of Wrath kitted out and 3 Crusher Knights can do. Anyway, it looks like that. We go to Warriors of the Dark Gods turn 1. Crusher Knights just charge the chaff in front of them. The Demon Prince charged my Jabberwock and failed the charge. Oh, thank goodness. That would have been awful. I'm never worried about losing just a unit or 2, but he had been right in my backfield. He could kill this thing on his turn, kill my chariot on my turn, and then reform and charge something on his turn. It just would have caused all sorts of problems. Over here, what he decided to do was take his Warhounds and charge my chaff. I think he knew that it wouldn't really stop my Gortak from charging his Wasteland Warriors. I think he mainly just wanted to get his dogs out of the way. So, yeah, it bothered me that I hadn't considered that. But as it worked out, it didn't end up being too big of a deal. His fast cav on the left shoot at my feral hounds over here. They do 2 wounds, force a panic test, and they passed. I think their leadership was like 5. So I was pretty happy about that. And yeah, that's not going to go well for those feral hounds. After combat, he did 2 wounds to me. I think I did 1 wound to him. Lost combat and ran through the house. I didn't fail any dangerous terrain miraculously. and he just reforms like that. So if I take that Chariot straight ahead, I can easily wheel that Gore attack, and he has to hit the left side of that warrior unit, my left, but he can easily make it. Over here, the Crusher Knights easily kill the Hounds. They run pretty far ahead, makes for an easy charge with my Minotaur. So what I was really tempted to do was to charge his Demon Prince. If I can kill the Demon Prince and overrun, then I overrun into the flank of the Crusher Knights, which just would have been absolutely awesome. One, there was a concern about could I make it? Is there enough of a gap to wheel and hit it and all that kind of stuff? And then two, my concern was that there's a decent chance I wasn't going to kill it, and if I didn't kill it, he's stubborn on a 10, so I'm not likely to pop him through combat res. And if my Minotaurs are stuck there, then the Crusher Knights charge me in the flank, and that's all she wrote. So my thinking was, let's just charge the Crusher Knights. If they don't break, I can get countercharged by a Chimera and a Chariot, which isn't wonderful, but it's better than the other option. And if I charge them, I have a magic phase. I really just need one buff on those guys, and that becomes a much more favorable combat for me. And there's not one particular buff I need. I can get +1 strength and toughness. I can get one extra attack with armor piercing 2. That would be huge, by the way. Would be tempted even to get to +3 initiative and strike first. If I can kill a couple of those guys before they strike, that's going to go a long way as well. So having a bunch of things where I only need one of them to go off made me pretty confident there. So we go to Beast Herds turn 2. This is exciting. This is only turn 2. Yeah. So Minotaurs charge the Crusher Knights. Look at that on the right-hand side. I've got my Jabberwock, my Gortak, my Razor Tusk Chariot, and 3 Core Chariots, all charging his Wasteland Warriors unit. Then I made a mistake, and my General's unit charged his Chaff. I don't know what I was thinking, because he fled. I was thinking, if I charged him, then I could kind of catch him, get up on the right-hand side, reform, and be in a better position. But when they fled, now I can't make the charge because I can't fit. And now by failing charge that way, my Battle Standard Bearer is not in range of my Minotaurs, who might need, I don't know, a reroll for Primal Instinct. It's possible I could lose combat, all that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, the Giant on the left charges his Fast Cav. And not sure why he didn't flee that, to be honest. And there's that. So we go to the magic... Well, I'll just show that there. So we go to the magic phase. And I'm thinking, I've got so many spells. I just need one spell to go off. I roll the dice, and I roll Snake Eyes. And then I don't channel, and my opponent channels. It's 2 dice to 2. And whatever I tried didn't go off. Yeah. Here's this. I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, one, I look at that and I'm like, one, that looks awesome. I think I'm going to do so much damage there. These guys, of course, I'm hitting on 5s, but in most cases I'll be re-rolling, so that helps. I think I'm going to do a lot of wounds, but if my opponent, my thinking is he very well may be steadfast, and if he is and sticks around, my General's unit's not going to be able to go in there and mop up because I'm going to have all these different chariots in my way. So I'm actually just kind of curious how that's going to go. Here on the right, tried to get that giant in there. One more, series of possible attacks. Another Thunder Stomp would have been nice, but that didn't happen. We go to the shooting phase, and on turn 1, my Centaur Chieftain wasn't in range of anything because I didn't line him up on the front line. So here on turn 2, he shoots the Chimera, hits him, wounds him, gets past his regen, and does 3 wounds. So, yeah, that thing only has 1 wound left. So now, if he charges into my Minotaurs or anything like that, I'm not really worried about it. I just need to sneak a wound through. So then we go to the Minotaur combat, and he rolls up first with his Harbinger of Wrath. And in my opponent's magic phase, last turn he got Frenzy off in that unit, but they're already frenzied, so they have double Frenzy. So this guy apparently starts off with 7 attacks. And then he adds 2, so he has 9 attacks, and he gets +1 to hit because he's Mark of Wrath. So he's hitting on 2s. I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, he's fighting my champion, so I guess he's just going to kill my champion, get 3 overkill, whatever. And then he rolls, and out of Out of 9 dice, he rolls 5 ones. Are you kidding? So, I mean, of course, 4 still hit, and then he rolls again, and he rolls 2 ones, and my champion survives. I don't know what the odds are of that. It's not many. Then my Minotaurs go. They pass their Primal Instinct, thank goodness, because I'm an idiot, didn't have a BSB nearby. And the Crusher Knights actually didn't do too much to me. I mean, you can see what they did. I mean, the champion's sitting there with 2 wounds, so basically these guys killed 3 models and put a wound on another model. So I mean, they did a lot of wounds, no doubt about it. My guys open up, and I didn't allocate any attacks towards his Harbinger there. Now this is after reform, by the way, so all my guys were touching the rank and file anyway. Not that it should matter, but anyway, so we do all our attacks on those guys, and I ended up killing them all and still doing, I don't know, 3 or 4 wounds extra. Just absolutely chopped through them. Had some bad armor save rolls. At that point, I guess I couldn't have thrown any attacks at his Harbinger, so as a moot point, I guess. But anyway, after all that, we ended up losing combat. So, yeah. And luckily, and of course I don't have my Battle Standard Bearer nearby, but luckily they're steadfast on a 7, and they pass it. So now they're going to get countercharged by a Chariot and a Chimera, but again, that Chimera is very likely to die. I don't know what's going to happen here. Over here, oh my gosh, this was no joke. Now the Chariot base on the left shouldn't be there. I was using that for my Jabberwock because he wouldn't fit before, and then I forgot to remove it. But you can see there have been some wounds taken over there. The Jabberwock, I think, has taken 3 wounds now. But we were in there. All those impact hits just crushed him. My Gortak was man of the match. He had 7 attacks, hitting on 5s, but then re-rolling to hit. Between the 2 of them, he just did a bunch of hits, killed them all. Of course, 2 Thunder Stomps. I mean, just crushed them. They were nowhere near being steadfast. I want to say the Gortak allocated all his attacks at the Battle Standard Bearer and killed him, so I didn't have to worry about a reroll or anything. And everybody else crushed those Wasteland Warriors down to, I think they had 3 models left. And then I went ahead and pursued with everything because let's get out of line of sight of his Demon Prince, and let's just make sure we get all those points. So huge swing over here on the right. I'll talk about that probably at the end of the game. And the report. We go to Wasteland Warriors turn 2. It is only turn 2. And my opponent can't be happy with this whole. There's a huge point scene going on the right hand side, but he still has plenty of tools to deal with stuff. So over here on the first off, you look at my giant and those feral hounds. They're both fleeing. That's because his Demon Prince charged in there. I saw no purpose in staying. It's one reason I like to take my beast giant sober, so I can vanguard with them and I can flee. And had I stayed, that Demon Prince just would have chopped him up. Over here, his Chimera tried to charge my Jabberwock, and I was actually okay with that. I think we swing at the same time. I think there's a good chance we just kill each other. And maybe I was being optimistic. I just needed 1 wound on that guy, and he's dead. So, but he failed it, which is probably best for me. We got the magic phase. He gets the is it Irresistible Waltz or something like that? But it's a spell off. I let it go on my Centaur Chieftain. You basically take a leadership test on 3 dice. If you fail it, you take a wound, no armor save, and you keep on having to take that test until you pass it. So I took the test and I failed it. I took a BSB reroll, failed it again, took a wound. I had to take the test again. I failed it. I used a BSB reroll, and I passed it, and that so saved it. So my Chieftain's a little bit nervous there. Let's see over here after combat. So his Chariot came in and lost 2 wounds from dangerous terrain tests. And then he killed just a bunch of stuff. I think he rolled like 6 impact hits plus 1 is 7. He just wrecked face. Almost by himself killed everything. The Chimera got killed. And anyway, the Harbinger killed the champion, of course. And we're down to 1 guy with having taken 2 wounds, and he gets away. So I felt actually pretty fortunate there. on the left-hand side. Over here on the right, his chariot over here charged one of my chariots, and I just held because I think because I'm stupid. I think that's mainly the reason why. Because then he was just able to overrun into this other chariot. And we go to Beast Herds turn 3. So not a lot I can do with my big block of troops. They're kind of stuck behind a chariot. Again, I don't know why I didn't flee that first chariot. Yeah, hindsight's 2020. Overall, I'm just kind of dancing stuff around a little bit. Let's see, my giant rallies, my minotaur does not rally. Over here on the right, his chariot easily killed the chariot that he had overrun into and reforms, so now my opponent's going to get to go next, and he plans on double charging that Gortak. Not sure how I feel about that. We go to Warriors turn 3. Here on the left, basically he charged his fast cav into my minotaur, who had to flee. He redirected to my giant, which was a good move because then when his Harbinger charged my giant, if my giant fled, the fast cav were easily going to catch him. So I decided to stick because you never know. I'd rather take a chance of doing something than automatically, die. And this is, here we go. This is a picture. I had to reach across the table to take it, of the double charge into my Gortak. Interesting to see how that goes. When all said and done, it goes like that. Oh my gosh. This guy, this guy's is nothing to be trifled with. So he has 7 attacks. He splits them like 4 on one, 3 on the other, or something like that. The chariot came in and did 4 wounds to him. And then when I rolled all my attacks, when rolling to wound on the Chimera, I rolled 2 6s. So it means each of those does D3 wounds each, and I get a wound back. So I went from full health to having taken 4 wounds to back up to 2 wounds. And then I did a couple wounds on the chariot, and after combat I just turned to face him. So the rules question I had was, what do you count for combat res? Do you count the 4 wounds taken or the 2 wounds ultimately taken? It seemed to me that you would count all 4, so that's what we did. But if you know the answer to that, that would be nice to know. And here at the bottom, yeah, they easily killed the Harbinger easily killed the giant. The fast cav overran and caught the minotaur and got those points. The Harbinger, I know I was thinking that he could just reform instead of having to overrun. But I know earlier they were frenzied, so I'm not sure about that. We might have just played that wrong. We go to Beast Herds turn 4. Again, there's very little stuff left on the table, so not a whole lot to see. I can tell you that his Demon Prince is playing a game with my Centaur Chieftain. He's just getting close enough to cast that spell where I have to take the leadership test, and then I dance out of his line of sight so he can't charge me, and I try to shoot him. It goes something like that. I think on Beast Herds turn 3 I shot him, and he had his shield, lucky shield, deflected it. After combat, yeah, the chariot was easily dead. He gets a spell off on me, and I pass my leadership test. Not a big deal. We go to Warriors turn 4. He moves around like you could see. He's wanting to force a leadership test on things outside of my leadership and reroll, so it looks like that. If you look at the bottom, yeah, he came up with his fast cav to shoot my Centaur Chieftain. That didn't work. So we go to Beast Herds turn 5. Overall, it looks like this. I'm just trying to get stuff out of his line of sight so he can't charge me. The leadership test I can't do anything about. We go to shooting, hitting on a 3-up, and Centaur Chieftain hits the Harbinger of Wrath, and of course the bolt thrower. There's no armor save, and then I roll 3 wounds and kill him. So that was much appreciated. We go to Warriors turn 5. He's really just kind of hiding his Demon Prince and then moving his fast cam around to shoot at my Centaur Chieftain. He's still alive, so that didn't work. We go to Beast Herds turn 6. It looks like this. I'm just going to protect my stuff now. I don't think there's anything I have that can deal with this Demon Prince in combat, to be honest. And I can't beat him through combat res because he's stubborn 10. I mean, it can, but the odds of getting any wounds through are pretty slim. So you can see my Centaur Chieftain is like, oh yeah, you want to shoot at me? I'll shoot right back at you. He puts a bolt thrower right through them. Kills them all. We go to Warriors turn 6. He charges into this Demon Prince. I was sorely tempted to accept the challenge with my champion, but I'm like, what the heck? Let's get into the Beast Lord, see what happens. and we get in that combat. He does 2 wounds to my Beast Lord. I did 0 or 1 wounds to him. I don't remember. And everybody sticks around, and that's the end of the game. So, yeah, that was exciting. I tell you what was really fun was seeing that huge combo charge. I don't think I've ever had a 6-unit combo charge another unit, and even when I did it, I mean, I thought I would win, but I wasn't sure if I was going to win by enough, and if whether at that point I would win in the long term. I think my opponent felt the same thing, and to totally annihilate that unit, I think there's going to be a shift in how people who play Warriors of the Dark Gods think about their army, because I think in the past they were so overpowered in some respects that you really could just waltz up and say do your worst, and I just don't think that's the case now. Which doesn't mean that you can't win with them. It just means you have to do a little more of chaffing up and not just march up and say give me what you got. I had a huge advantage with the points being on the right hand side, and by the end of the game, my army just tends to bleed points. I have a lot of units that really aren't that hard to take out. I'm really disappointed that I didn't think to charge with 1 chariot, when normally fleeing charges is something I'm always open to. So I need to just be more aware of that possibility and take advantage of it more. But anyway, I think this list is going to be the core list I use for this tournament, but there are some things I'm tweaking in it. So you'll have to see what those changes are. That's here. Thank you so much for watching the video. I truly hope you enjoyed it. As you know, YouTube has a variety of functions you can use to interact with videos such as this. You can like or comment on the video, you can favorite it, you can share it, and of course you can subscribe to the channel. And I encourage you to do any or all of those things as a way of interacting between viewer and producer. As always, I appreciate your patronage on the channel and wish you all the best.